everyone. I'm Leisa Peterson. This is Holly Riley, and we're just really, really happy that you're here joining us today. And it's really going to be a very casual conversation because that's kind of who we are and how we like to operate. So what I wanted to tell you is we are going to be kind of going through some questions that I have for Holly. We also are going to have Holly take us through a practice. And we also want to encourage you to ask questions. So we have posted the Q&A on the screen. And when we take some questions, probably towards the end, we'll just let that happen.
Sure.
That's the plan. So go ahead and post any questions you have. We also have Rebecca, who is watching the questions, and if there's some challenges, she can see your questions and try and help you out as best she can. You might, if you need her to contact you, you might include your email address in the note to her so that she can help you. So with that, I just wanted,
that was great.
Technical stuff.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to explain a little bit more. This is obviously our kickoff event for the whole entire next 10 days. But I really wanted to just speak specifically to what it was that inspired me to really reach out to Holly and ask her to be a part of the summit because yeah, that's a great place to start. So Holly and I met about 1.5 years ago, and she has been instrumental in helping me work through blocks, mental blocks, challenges that come up, and we all know what those mean, but they've come up for me. And about 1 year ago, I actually came to meet with her for the first time. And I thought it would be helpful to tell you what happened in that session so that you can get a better sense of some of the amazing things that Holly does. So what I realized is that when I started thinking about starting a company, I noticed that I had this habit, a really negative habit of looking at myself and thinking I wasn't good enough.
Oh, nobody else does that.
Right. I'm the only one, right? I'm the only one. And I came to Holly and I said, can you help me with this? Because it's hard to start a company when you don't feel good about yourself and you're second guessing and you're thinking, I don't look good enough. Like that was one of them. It was, I don't have the right face. I don't have the right look. I don't have the right mannerisms. And what happened was I actually sat down in this room with Holly and she took me through an experience of being able to look at this habit that I had developed for a very long time and actually have it go away, like go away in a very short period of time. And it was so amazing that I couldn't even remember what it was that I had come to see her about when, you know, I had to think about it because I thought, well, what was it? I just know you helped me, but I didn't understand that you could go from being so certain of one thing in one moment and another to have it gone. And that is really why I wanted to share Holly's gifts with everyone, and so you can get to know what it is that she's been helping me with. And so with that, I just wanted to kind of dive into you know, Holly has gone through an amazing journey, and I'm going to ask her to talk about that with us. And it started really young, many years ago for her. And so maybe just with that, if you could just, you know, start wherever you like.
I will. I just want to dive in because what you said is so perfect for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
And if I can just tag along,
yeah.
I want to share with you when Leisa actually went in to take a look at the habit that she was having, and we did the catch and release process on it. What was different and amazing in Leisa, she was able to go in and own and see that the habit she had had her entire life of making herself wrong, that always noticing what's wrong with herself as opposed to noticing anything that was right. She could feel. It wasn't just an intellectual thing. It was an ability to feel that it wasn't her. And what we do, and what I've learned, and I'll tell you how it started out, I learned that most of the things that we all carry around, the negativity, the anger, the resentment, it's not us. It's not us. And when she was able to move into the presence that she is and see the habit of always noticing what's wrong, she got to really feel, not just know intellectually, oh yeah, sure, I should let that go. She got to feel how it was affecting her, how she was holding it in her body, how it was stopping her from going forward. And it's not until that happens that it can be let go of. And now let me tell you why I say that, because listen, I was the same as you. We are all the same. I was resentful. I had had some really tough breaks. I was in the hospital. I was diagnosed with an incurable disease, Crohn's disease. I was down to 84 pounds and I was dying. I'm 135 pounds. And as I was lying in that hospital bed for a month, I tell you, something happens. You start looking at what you thought mattered, and you start understanding what doesn't. And I'm going to spare you the whole story of the process that happened in that 30 days, but I want to tell you one thing. And this is how Leisa moved from being something to seeing something. When I was in the hospital, and the night that I actually left my body and it shut down and stopped working completely, I was filled with so much pain and so much resentment, as I said, so much blame. I was angry that I was sick. And the moment that I left my body and started moving away, the second that I came out of my body, I was free. I was completely free. And the distinction from being closed in and tight and afraid and alone to being connected, held, it was such an energy of freedom. And the feeling was nothing was wrong. Not one thing was wrong. And as I got to feel that feeling, and as I kept moving away from my body, I knew who I was. And I wasn't the crumpled form below in the hospital bed. I was vast. I was aware. I was present. I was connected. And I was filled with love and joy. It was free. I can't even tell you words. But it was so different than that feeling in the body. And as I moved away, this is what I want you to hear more than anything. I could see that the thoughts and the ideas and the resentment, the non-forgiveness, but most of all, always making myself wrong, was in my body. I could see that thoughts and feelings and intentions were alive, and they took up space and they had weight inside of my body. And when I saw it, I was like, no wonder I got so sick. No wonder I was so miserable. And the moment I saw it, I can't explain how, but the understanding was so clear to me, I could let it go. It wasn't me. It was something I had kept, held onto, and picked at forever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what I did and what I learned through the process of healing, I saw how to let go of all of those things. And given that the topic of this telesummit is creating abundance, creating wealth, creating your dreams, I wanted to tell you the most important thing to begin is to let go of all those ideas of not being able to, of not being good enough, of actually being able to feel your value and your worth. And I mean, I had such a gift, so many gifts as I went through that journey. But one thing I felt, and I know in the core of my being, is that we are all of us, valuable. There isn't one person that isn't. And as I was able to tap into that and feel who I was without my stories, who I was without all that drama, anything can be created. Anything.
Wow. So how did you go from being in this hospital bed to recovering? Like, what happened next?
Oh, there's 350 pages in my book, but the place to begin for me was to realize I was the one that put all of those things inside of me. Yes, I had a very abusive childhood. Yes, I had a torturous past. And I believe many of us have plenty of moments like that we carry. But what was the most amazing thing? I realized I was the one holding them. I was the one keeping them there, almost like I wanted to suffer and be sick so that I could make my family pay for what they had done to me. And you know what I've learned in the years of this work? Many people unconsciously, of course, they do not know they do this. They almost want to fail or hurt to prove something, like to punish someone that has betrayed them. Like I wanted my mom and dad to suffer from being so abusive, and the only way I could hurt them, and I didn't know this at the time, it was to just give up and fail and even die.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. You mentioned before to me that it was like you wanted to be loved so badly that you were willing to die to get it.
The only way I knew that I could, the only time that I really think I opened up and let somebody love me was when I was sick. Isn't that insane? Because here's the thing, and I love this, I have to tell you this. So just take a look at your life. Take a look at how much you give. We give, we give, we give. We're doing all the time. We're always moving our energy towards someone or something. We are givers. And in all the classes that I've been, the allowing classes, what I've noticed with every student, not one exception, when we pair them up, and we do this with strangers or with friends, and we have one person just flow kindness to the other, just flow and give to the other person's job is to open up and receive, and to just let it in, to just breathe it in. And then I have them turn around and switch. Do you know that all of them say, I'm great at giving, but it is not comfortable for me to receive? And here's the thing, I had to get sick to let someone be kind to me. I had to get almost, if you had seen me, people would walk by me on the street and go, oh, I was so skinny. And it was like the only way I would let love in was to be really in bad shape. And many of us do that. We'll go ahead and get sick just so we can get some rest, just so we can finally turn the energy around and let something come toward us. Let me tell you something. If you're ready to create abundance and health and an amazing relationship, you have to be a good receiver. So all the work that we're doing now is about you, and it's what I did with Leisa. Open up and let out those old ideas so you can actually decide to let something in. You know, as you look at your life, really, if you just look at even yesterday or last week, look at all the giving you do. Look at all the energy going out. Look at all you've been doing to get this summit ready. All that amazing energy going out. So much. We all do this to create something. How much did you receive last week? How much did you stop and say, Oh, a cup of tea for me. A moment for me. The blue sky, wow. Opening, just to let something kind in. Even if somebody gave you a gift. You know what I mean? If they gave you a gift and handed you something beautiful, did you actually take a moment and say, wow, and let it in? Or was it uncomfortable and did you like, thank you so much, and try to be grateful as opposed to really opening up your heart? The allowing work is about opening. It's about letting go of the blocks to opening because it's your strongest place to live. It's where you can let a feeling come in and go out. It's where you can start letting abundance come in, love come in, and you can actually exhale and let it go out. Here's what happens when you're all in give mode, when you're all in pushing everything this way. Here's your energy. You're always going like this. Let me do this for you. Let me get your food for you. Oh, honey, can I do this for you? Oh, what about this? Oh, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you. Everything's going this way. And what happens is we're closed. Just kind of feel yourself, look at your life and look at what you're doing. You're closed, you're busy, mostly when you're giving. And I'm not saying giving is not a good thing. Please don't misunderstand me. Giving explodes when you start receiving. You won't believe what a giver you can be without depleting when you open and receive and give as one action. It's like breathing in and breathing out. And this is the coolest thing. If you are closing, which most of us do it naturally, no making yourself wrong, it's a natural response to being hurt. I was completely shut down. I was so mad and angry that nothing could get in, not one thing. And what we do is natural. When we're hurt, we close. I'm saying right now, it's time to open. Because as you start realizing how closed you are, your opening is going to tell the world you're ready. You're ready to receive. Because what you tell the world when you're closed is, I'm not ready. I'm not open. And how you treat yourself, like if you're mean to yourself or you're always noticing what's wrong, like most of us do, or if you're blaming yourself and always looking in the mirror at what's wrong instead of ever seeing what's right, feel the energy of that. It's a cycle of noticing what's wrong. We do it. We walk in a house, we notice what's wrong. We look at a person's face, we notice what's wrong. We're in traffic, we notice what's wrong. Our energy going to what's wrong toward ourselves and the world is an invitation for the world to match us. Let me say it another way. How you treat yourself, if you're mean to yourself, ignoring yourself, it's a silent invitation for the world to treat you the same way. The world is a copycat. So if you're closed up and noticing what's wrong in the world, you're just going to get more of it. And the magic of allowing is when you start opening up to receive, when you start opening up and your vision and your heart and your energy starts changing, the world matches you. Abundance shows up, opportunities show up, solutions appear that could never appear when you were in the process of looking for what's wrong. And I'm not saying don't notice what's wrong when it needs fixing. I'm saying notice if you have a habit of always looking for what's out of place, for what's messed up. And if you don't do it over and over again without ever going towards solution and actually making things right. Looking for what's not working so you can have a solution, awesome practice, powerful practice. But looking for what's wrong so you can complain or be right about everything being wrong is going to close you down, and the world can't give you anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's coming up is when we judge, like judging is a common characteristic of being human, judging. Is there a positive way to judge, or is it all negative?
Well, and remember when we did your session, and I've done this a lot, remember when you pulled up the impression of yourself and you started judging?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I do sometimes with people, is I have them look and see how instantaneously we judge. And you start catching the habit of judging, and you start releasing it. And when you released it, do you remember when you saw that beautiful image of yourself in front of you?
Yeah.
You saw the goodness, the tears streamed down your face.
Yeah.
You saw an amazing being filled with heart, that was passionate, that was determined, doing the best she could do to get everything right. What if you start judging like that? What if you start seeing like that? Mm-hmm. A critical eye is not valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discernment is necessary, but criticism, I mean, you've been around somebody who sits and always notices what's wrong with everyone, or you'll sit and they'll gossip about who did this or who did that. Do you notice how your energy always kind of shrinks up and you feel disconnected? Well, when I work with people and they become aware of this habit of being critical, they find they're so disconnected from life. And everything they're wanting is being connected. It's being noticed. It's being loved. It's being seen. Everybody wants to be seen. And do you know, every time we criticize somebody, we separate, disconnect, and we don't see ourselves. So the new criticism, or the new habit, is to, rather than find a critical thought, find a good one, because there's something good everywhere. Everywhere. I don't have a habit of it anymore. Hardly at all. I mean, you fall in love with everyone because you get to see that. I mean, really, as I came back and healed and was able to let go of all the resentment and actually like this crazy person that I was so down on, I fell in love with everyone, because we're all making mistakes. We're all learning. And you know what every single person on this planet wants?
To be seen, be loved. Yeah.
Because do you love that feeling? Like right now, can you feel?
Yeah.
How I adore you?
And I adore you.
I mean, it's just the most amazing feeling to be in the presence of no criticism. And are we perfect? No. Are we going to make mistakes again? Yes. But can we see the good in each other?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what everybody wants. You know, what we don't realize is the moment we start putting all of our energy towards what's wrong, the criticisms, we are cutting ourselves off. We are shutting down our own receiver. We are making it so life cannot give us anything. If you don't hear anything else and you just hear that, that would be okay with me. Because if you can open, life will be able to love you. It waits. Imagine receiving. Imagine what it will feel like. Imagine letting go of the fear you have of letting something beautiful in. Imagine you living your life, waking up in the morning and just going, breathing life into your body and saying, wow, I get another day. You know, it's like breathing that goodness into your own body, and life tells the world, bring it on. I'm ready for some. Bring me more of this good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm liking that. I want more of the good stuff. Power. I'd love if you could talk about power, because it's something that's coming up a lot for me lately. And oftentimes women have not been encouraged around power. Men a little more. It's good to be powerful. Women being powerful. there's some issues in society that we receive around that. And I'd love to just hear your thoughts about power.
And I would love for you to just tell me what your definition of power is,
Yes.
because do you know there's probably
Thank you.
thousands.
Okay, so I would say my definition of power is stepping into this this fullness of being. Like, not, it's the kind of power that isn't I win, you lose. It's that we all have together shared in this experience of life, but that I felt so cut off from in the past.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling it coming, and I just would love to hear you. Yes.
And I love what you said. Can you just describe with a few words what it feels like? Because I can feel it moving through you right now.
Okay.
What does it feel like when you're powerful?
It feels like, well, first thing, it's like life is loving you back.
How about that? And just notice your energy on a physical level. What do you feel right now?
Open,
Yes.
receiving,
Yes.
giving at the same time. Flow, a flowing of love, and that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be not perfect. And
Did you hear that? That's what I wanted to hear. It's okay to not be perfect. What a relief for all of us.
yeah.
Did you feel how she felt? She said, can you talk about power? And like, to just be able to breathe it in, to be able to open like that, to be able to let this energy that's always here in so that you can point it toward what you're wanting. That's power. That's power. Now, do other people think that power is controlling someone? Yes. Do other people sometimes feel that power is money and somehow they can have more power with money? I would say that's true. You can, but the power that Lisa's talking about, it's open, it's receiving, and it's giving, and it's a flow, and it's profound, and it's unstoppable, and it's never going to exhaust you, and it won't deplete you. And when you point it toward a dream or something that you're wanting, you're going to manifest it because it's coming from all of you. It's that wholeness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that joy. And do you know I have to say one more
Yeah.
thing. I know it's hard for me to be quiet. Every successful person you look at is really good at pointing their attention on exactly what they want. Every one of them are good at placing their energy on a choice instead of getting distracted by what they're resisting or what they're not wanting. Do we have time for me to talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's good. Because, I mean, what I wanted to say was, yeah, how do people tap into their own power? Right?
Here's the thing I love for people to get. When you resist something, which most people spend their energy resisting failure. Let's just take failure success for an example. You can do this with health and sickness. You can do this with love and loneliness. I'm going to use success and failure. Here we are as children all through our lives, we are afraid of failing. Understandably. Did you get a bad grade on your report card? You bad girl. You know, we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of what's going to happen. It's going to hurt. So here's failing, and here we are. And here's what we do from that moment on. We push on failure. I don't want it. I don't like it. I can't stand it. I got to get away from it. Get it away from me. So we begin using our energy to push against failure. We hate it. That's energy. We dislike it. We notice it in other people. We criticize it. Energy. And what we do is we start not wanting to fail more than we're putting our attention and energy into wanting to succeed. So what happens with this is called resistance. Now watch this. What do I have to continually give failure in order to keep it at bay? What do I have to always do with failure?
Power, energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my life holding back failure. And it's funny because we even take it and we'll go like this, like, no, it's not there. We'll push it down. Even our past failures, we don't want anybody to know them. So what we do is we push them down. We don't even acknowledge them ourselves because we're afraid of them. So we're always keeping them back. And guess what's always touching failure? Me. This is a trickle of my creative energy always feeding and growing fear of failure. Now, with allowing, we get all that energy. We stop resisting being sick, stop resisting failing, stop resisting being imperfect, stop avoiding and pushing against, and we recover all that creative energy and we move it into a yes. I want this. I'm going to create this. I'm going to develop this. Do you know how much creative energy we use in resisting? This was me. I didn't want to be an alcoholic like my mother. I didn't want to be a crazy man like my father, who was also an alcoholic. I didn't want to be lost and alone like some of my friends. I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to be sick. I didn't want to be lonely. I didn't want to be ugly. I didn't want to be fat. I didn't want to. Here was my life. How do you have any energy left to create anything? Allowing is about letting all of that go so you can take your beautiful heart, your beautiful life, and point it on what you're wanting. That's what successful people do. They take their energy and attention and deliberately focus it into a decision. They invest it into a choice. It's a very good investment, and it always has a great return.
That's great. That's great.
I get really excited. I know, you gotta tell me to be quiet.
It's good. One thing that came to mind was that it's never too late to tap into this.
No way.
Like you can, anybody.
I had an 84-year-old, tell me to be quiet if you want to do it. I had an 84-year-old gentleman that I got to work with that lost his wife. He, for the first time in his 84 years, set down resistance. Oh, it's still in my heart. He, after all the loss and all the pain, he said, what was the point of my life? And after we did the work and he set it all down, he said, I'm starting over. He opened and he was willing to let love in for the first time. It's never too late. It's never too late to heal. It's never too late to forgive. It's never too late to let go of everything and start right now.
Yeah. And how, for many people you work with, lots of different people, and everyone's on their own path. And I know you told me that you really want to get a feel for where someone is ready to let go of resistance. Like it's up to each person to decide. Like you can't say these are the things you need to let go of. It has to come from their own side.
Oh, absolutely.
So what do people do? Like, how would they know that they're actually ready to let go of something? Like I was, when I came to see you.
That's a really good question. And how they know, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, they have to look for themselves. They'll feel it. It's really more a feeling. A lot of people go through their life and say, I want to let it go. They talk about forgiving for 10 years, but they don't do it. When somebody is ready to let go, they find someone to help them, or they decide to do it. There's no stopping them when they're ready. The teacher always shows up. The perfect amount of wisdom appears in front of them. They reach for the perfect book. When you're ready, there's no stopping you. And the truth is, I was so ready. You were so ready. And we wanted to be free. And if you, Lisa's question is so good. If you find for yourself that you are not sure how much you can let go of, let that be okay. When you even apply these tools to one little thing, you'll know how they work. You'll know how much you can let go of. You'll know how deep you're ready to go. And it'll open the door to the next place, just like your life thus far. Every step you take will beautifully show you your next step. I feel, and my joy is having you move to the place of presence, of peace that I got to see and feel for myself, so you can know you aren't any of the things you're holding. One thing I've seen occur with many, many people doing the allowing work, and it is that they start moving in and they start letting go, and then all of a sudden it's like they cross a bridge and they realize all the things they've been fighting and resisting can be let go of. They can be done resisting, and then all of a sudden a new world appears. So the thing is, begin. Just begin where you are. Where you are is perfect. Let's say it's a little tiny thing, like I'm mad at my husband, or I'm tired of maybe my son is taking advantage of me. You would sit down, you would feel and follow the 3 steps of the catch and release process, and just do one little small release on a feeling you're holding inside. Not that anybody else is putting there, because as soon as you realize you're putting it there and you follow step 1 and 2, you can actually let it go. But as long as you think that you're feeling bad because of your son or your husband, you have to wait for them to change to feel better. You think they're responsible for the hurt you're feeling inside. When people start realizing it's their opinions and judgments about what they're looking at that's hurting them, and it's not because of someone else, it's because of the way they've swallowed the whole event. And they're the ones that's keeping it in their belly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And what's coming up, because I've been studying this and reading your books, so I want to just mention Holly has a few books, the allowing handbook, or the story, your story of your life, and then a handbook that is a practical application of what you're talking about. So I just want to make sure that people understand what you're saying.
Yes.
And so I've been studying this, and I think a big realization is that it isn't anyone else, that it isn't people outside of us causing our problems, that it is for me looking inside to see what is it that I am resisting. Like every time I suffer, every time I'm in the doldrums, I may choose to be in the doldrums, but if I choose not to be, I can look and say, what is it that I'm holding on to? What is this resisting? What is it? And the same thing goes, my husband, so I love that it's me and not him, but at the same time, he suffers and I want to help him. And when I'm able to continuously come back, step back and step out of it, I guess, get my ego out of it, I can ultimately arrive at maybe a little morsel of, oh, like last night I said, it's the guilt that you're holding on to about making this decision that's caused this whole ripple volcano in your life. It's just the guilt. And I saw the energy, just sort of come out of him, like, on one hand, it's like, it's my wife and she figured that out, dang damn it. But on the other side, it's like, oh, there it is. That's why I can't deal with this thing. That's why whenever I try to deal with this thing, only negative things come out of it. It's because the guilt that I'm holding on to is so severe that nothing I do from that place is going to go well.
I think so many people can relate to what you're saying. And it's a feeling unfelt and held on to that blocks our ability to move. And again, it could be, I want to show you with my hand, if it's guilt or sadness, many people are lonely. Here we are trying not to be guilty. Here we are pushing against it, pushing against loneliness. Pushing against it is actually feeding it and growing it into something bigger. She did a beautiful thing with her husband. Leisa had him actually look the guilt in the eye and acknowledge, oh my gosh, I am a walking body of guilt. And the moment you look at it, and this is all part of step 1, you start realizing, oh my gosh, this is mine. This is in my space. This is the best news we've ever had. We thought it was there because of either some God that's going to punish us or some created reality outside. We never realized that guilt was coming from inside of us.
Yeah.
I can give you an example.
Yeah.
If you were to look at an incident, you could pick an incident. It could be even something like a car accident. Let's say there's 10 people on an intersection, in an intersection area, 10 cars, 10 people watching, 2 cars come flying from 2 different directions and they crash. Now, if you were to interview those 10 people, you would get 10 different stories about what they saw, even if they were all standing in the exact same place. And I think this is a phenomena that's worth understanding. When something horrible or traumatic happens in our lives, you could have 10 people looking at it, and 10 people are going to walk away with a variation of a feeling inside of them. Anything from guilt to horror. It could be anything. Somebody may even be happy about it because they're thinking, oh my gosh, finally, things are going to start changing in this life. Now, can you see that 10 different people can have 10 different experiences over the same traumatic event? This proves the feeling they're having didn't come from the event. The feeling they are having came from their opinions and judgments about what they were looking at, from their conditioning, from their education, from their beliefs. That's wrong, that's bad, that's good, that's this. What happens inside of us is a product of our opinions and judgments. And this is the best news anybody has ever had, because guess what?
You decide to change, or it's your thing.
It's your domain to be in charge of. And do you know, after a few catch and releases and people start feeling the freedom, I mean, I just had an 8-year-old girl. She was so mad at her sister, so angry for what she had been doing to her. And I had her really experience how mad she was at her sister. And she realized, oh my gosh, all that madness is inside. She said, in my heart. I said, who put it there? She said, I did. I said, honey, you are brilliant. Guess who gets to let it go? And she released the whole thing, and she was a giggling ball of light. I said, what feeling would you prefer to have when you look at your sister? You get to choose any one you want. And she picked love. It was the most amazing little thing, and she just got it. She was so clear. Why didn't anybody tell me before I could choose something like this?
Yeah.
I want to go into schools. I want all the kids to learn this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them being raised aware of this?
It's beautiful. Oh, it's life-changing. I wish it hadn't taken me so long. That's why we're here. So can you take us through an exercise?
Sure, I would love to do that. I'd like to have, you can pick any exercise you'd like and I would do it. What I would really like people to feel is the difference between being open and closed, so they can start creating abundance.
Yeah.
Would you like me to do that?
That's great.
Okay, very good.
It's good. It's
so
great.
First, all you have to do is you can close your eyes or keep them open, but I'd like you to just get an impression of yourself. And for a moment, just watch the movie called You. Kind of see yourself living your life. You could take the last week, yesterday, take a busy day, and watch yourself living your life for a moment. Look at all you do. Notice everything you're managing. Notice how busy you are. Notice the list you have, how it's always there. And notice how quickly you can move from one thing to the next. Multitasker. And feel yourself doing this. Just now, feel your energy as you're living. Watch this person called You. Can you feel their heart space? Can you feel if they are closed? Can you feel if they're hurrying and busy and disconnected and just wanting to get done? Just notice what it's like to live your life feeling closed. Notice what it's like to go through your day closed. Let it be there for a moment, just so you can become familiar with it. Don't push it away. Just become aware. Decide to be honest. Feel what it's like to be closed. While you're talking to people, while you're driving, feel if you're closed, if you're in a hurry, if you're disconnected. Notice what it's like to live this way. Feel how empty it is. Feel how nothing can get in. Feel how nothing can get in. You could see something beautiful in front of you, and you don't even let it in. This is living a life closed. Feel your heart space. Feel your energy. It's cut off. It's depleting. It's exhausting to live like this because nothing is getting in. Now just become aware of how contracted your body is. Don't push against it. Don't change it. I just want you to become aware of what it feels like being closed so you'll recognize it in your life. Feel closed. And now open. Just take a big breath in and just decide, almost on an energetic level, to connect, to open. Almost like your head and your arms and your legs are expanding and you're opening your chest area, you're breathing, you're connecting. You're connecting with whatever is there, the space, the sky, the clouds, the trees, the room you're in. Expand, open, breathing, opening, inviting this beautiful energy that's always around you. Invite it in right now. Open up and receive a soothing flow of kindness. Just kind of let it come in. Breathing it in with your breath, saying yes. Feel your body relaxing as you say yes. I'm opening. I'm opening. It's my decision. Saying yes to the universe, bringing you something you're wanting. Feel a yes in your heart. Open. Just open. Your intuition wakes up here. Solutions occur here. Presence is here. Open. Just open. It's where all of a sudden you start knowing what to do without any effort. Open. Feel how all of a sudden you feel connected. It doesn't even matter if it's to a person. It's like you're connected to something lovely. Open. Invite in this beautiful energy that is always present, waiting for you to say yes. Open. Receive. That's it. Open. And now, just as you've got this feeling inside of your body, imagine you waking up in the morning and saying, open. I'm ready to breathe in this beautiful feeling. I'm open to receiving. I am open. I'm going to have my day. Breathing in and being open and connected. This is nurturing. This is health restoring. This is how healing happens. This is a space that allows you to let go of resistance. Open. This is the most powerful place to live, like Leisa was saying. Open. Anything can come in, even if it's an uncomfortable feeling, and you can breathe it out when you're open. You can let it roll through you like a cloud through the sky when you're open. When you're closed down, the hard or painful feelings stick. Open. Open. That is what it's like to feel open And I could go on for a long time, but I know I need to stop now. And I have a meditation on my website that is so perfect to do this with life. So you can start opening instead of closing. And it's how everything you're wanting can come to you. You have to open in order to receive. Most people go through their whole life pushing and flowing out and giving, wondering why nothing's coming in. And it's because they have not opened any part of their being to receive. The universe will always copy you. If you are closed, you will not get anything. If you are open, hang on to your hat.
Because, yeah, you start seeing the world in a very different way.
Exactly. And the world starts seeing you in a very different way. I mean, if you could imagine feeling everything is energy on an energetic level. If you're open and you're walking somewhere, have you ever noticed how everyone connects with you and loves being near you? And when you're closed, have you noticed how everyone is closed around you?
Yeah.
It's because they're reflecting us.
Yeah.
And if we want to change the outside, I mean, I know it's cliche and we've heard it a million times. I'm saying open.
It's complicated because, like you were saying, nothing that you're talking about is not to not give. You know, in giving, oftentimes awakens within us good feelings that we seek badly. You know, we want to feel that connection.
Oh yeah, I've got something.
People.
Oh, I've got to tell you this. I'm so glad you asked that question. Now, if you can hear this, so this is how most people give. I'm so glad you said this. Most people are ready to give because they feel like they should.
Yes.
They feel like it's almost like a religious indoctrination for some people. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I want you to hear this. Like if they don't do it, they're not good people. Like if they don't give, they're not going to be loved. So feel the distinction here. Giving because I have to. Giving because I should. It comes from sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
When we are sacrificing, and we've all been taught this in many, many different forms, in many, many different cultures. Mm-hmm. It's societal conditioning. If you're sacrificing, you are good. Can you feel that? See how you just made that face? It's really like that. So it's like, please just let me sacrifice enough to be a good person. And guess what happens? Deplete, deplete, deplete. No abundance can live there. Mm-hmm. So what happens when we are giving from this idea of I need to sacrifice to be a good person, I want you to feel this deep. It's not giving at all. It's actually adding an energy of guilt to the world because we feel guilty. It's an action out of guilt, and guess what it brings to us?
Guilt.
Exactly.
Brings it back.
It brings us more things to
feel guilty.
Exactly.
To feel guilty about.
So anybody I work with that has a lot of guilt, I look and see how much they've been sacrificing. And this is what I do. I want to show you the difference between giving out of a sacrifice and giving because it is the most amazing, lovely, precious gift you can give.
Okay.
All right? You've already got the answer. You've already got the answer. I'm just going to remind you. Just open. Now open and receive. Open and let this, it's an invisible, sacred with no name. Call it anything. Call it grace. Call it presence. Call it love. Call it air. But breathe it in and open, receive, and now feel yourself cooking dinner from here. Giving this beautiful energy in the food. Loving making the dinner because it's so filled with this grace. This is giving with love. Let me take care of you because I am full of grace and love. I have enough to share with the world because my receiver is open. I am not sacrificing one tiny drop. I am giving you the fullness of my being because there's an endless supply. Did you get the chills? I just got chills. That's giving.
Yeah.
That's being in service to our fellow human that we love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh God, I gotta go cook dinner again. Oh my gosh, I gotta cook dinner. Let me hurry up and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice. Let me do the dishes. I gotta clean the kitchen for everybody so it's not messy in the morning. Sacrifice. What if you do the dishes in the same energy? Breathing in and receiving, your life will never be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the guru that said it, but it may have been Byron Katie. Everything is doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Everything is doing the dishes. Everything can be amazing as long as you're open and receiving. But we have learned to close out of our fear of being hurt. That's why I love this work, this allowing process. It's about allowing hurt to exist because you can't get out of this human thing alive. I mean, you're going to drop your body at some point, and there's chances are it's going to hurt, and you're going to have pain. We're going to have loss. We're going to have suffering. So here's the way to manage it instead of closing. Open. It allows the pain to move through us so we can heal. That's how I healed from Crohn's disease. That's how I was able to let go of all the stuff I was carrying inside so I could open and let some sweetness in. I had to be willing to receive. So I hope you guys do that.
So one of the questions that I've asked everyone in the summit is, what is your, the concept that I presented, mindful wealth? What does that mean to you?
You already know my answer.
They don't. I mean, maybe they do.
I mean, mindful wealth it's really having the mind, heart, and spirit and body open so that it can all receive. It's really being willing, able, and ready to own that power you spoke of. You cannot fail. There is no possibility of failure when you are mindfully allowing all of this energy to move through you so you can point it toward your dream. That's mindful wealth in every way, with health, with love, with a tremendous amount of money. Let it come in. You know, how much time do we have? Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I work with people sometimes in the allowing class. We'll have a group of people feel what it's like to have a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of money. Like you're in a room filled with money to your eyeballs. Now, and I'm not talking little bills, I'm talking big bills. And you walk in this room and there's so much money. You could never spend it all in your lifetime. At least that's what you think. You walk in the room and it's yours. It's 100% yours to do anything you want with it. And then I ask them this, what do you feel? What do you feel? You feel woo-hoo. It's pretty clear. That is awesome. Most people feel a little nervous or afraid, or I've got to give some away, or, you know, I don't deserve this. I mean, a lot of people, the response is something like, I haven't earned this yet. After they sit in it for a few minutes. Now, what do you think that energy is doing to them? I haven't earned it yet. I'm not responsible enough to have this much money. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
This is too much money for me. I better give half of this away. I better hide it. I've had some people say, I don't want to lose it. Just feel the contraction.
Yes.
Can you feel the closing?
Yeah, so it pushes it off into the distance. It's not that it's not there. It's just untouchable for that person in that frame of reference.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I totally relate because, I mean, one of the things for my story is that my husband and I became wealthy and we had not done the inner work. So the money came in, but we shut down. We shut down because it was beyond our ceiling,
Exactly.
our money set. You know, people call it money set.
Yeah.
And we shut down and went into lack and scarcity, even though we had more than we ever could have dreamt. It shut us down.
You're not alone. You're not alone. There are so many people I've worked with that are very wealthy that are shut down. And so that's why this is so incredible when you go into this room and you honestly start exploring what happens inside of you, and you discover all the beliefs and the limitations that you're trying to create wealth through. No wonder. So what we do is we let those go so that you can really open and say, oh my gosh, yes, I can do this. I'm ready. I can manage it. I can create it. And we can do anything we decide to do by staying open.
Yes. That is what you've taught me.
Yes.
It's what I love that.
It's my favorite. It's what I continue to teach myself. You know, I don't know that there's ever a place that it stops. I become, and I know you do too, we become more open every day that we intend to. It is so humbling and so beautiful. Where I used to think it was this big, powerful thing that I would do, I'm finding a softness in power that I never knew existed.
Yes, I would agree. Totally agree. And I just want to make sure. So yesterday I did send out the email so that they could download the meditation.
Oh, great.
So they have access to it online.
Beautiful.
And we'll keep that available. And so your website is Holly?
Yes, it's hollyriley.com. And what we do, we'd love for you to join the community. I'm not big on sending a lot of emails out. I'm maybe 1 or 2 a month, but I usually enclose a meditation or a link to something that is nurturing and that will help you open. And one of my favorite things is to help a parent be able to do this process with a child. Because if they get this at a young age, they are good to go. If they get that they can actually change a feeling inside, you will be amazed at the gift you're giving your child or your partner, like Leisa did with her husband. So if you'd like to get these little tidbits, sign in to the website. We'll add you to our mailing list, and we'll send you random notes about processes you can use with kids. And I'm creating a new thing. I'm so excited about it. We're going to do an actual session, and we're going to put it on a CD as an MP3 download for parents and partners so they can start doing this with people that they love and themselves.
Oh, so, that's great.
I know, I'm very excited.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Do this process with anybody, strangers in elevators, shopping malls, anywhere you can do it. Show them how to let go of what they're holding so they can open, and we will change the world. I really believe that.
I do too. I know it's that way. So.
Oh, and I have one more thing. And I have a meditation collection that it's new. It's just on the website as of last week. And it has 5 meditations about receiving, opening, moving into presence, and letting life love you. And I believe if somebody listens to those and feels the words, they will not be willing to close up again. It's too painful. Yeah. So please let yourself open up and have everything you've ever dreamed of. That's my wish for you.
I love that. So I'm going to give you a hug, but we're all hugging you at the same time. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for creating this.
Thank you.
Bless you. Blessings to everybody.
Thank you very much for being a part of this. You know, there were some questions. Do you have a couple minutes?
I do.
Did some questions come through, Rebecca?
Absolutely.
You had mentioned about the meditation and talking more about like worthiness and that. Can you go a little bit?
Oh, worthiness.
Yeah.
Like receiving. So how does worthiness and receiving perhaps tie in?
Great question. It's a really good question. If someone feels like you had mentioned guilt, if someone feels like they've done something wrong in the past, and who hasn't? If somebody feels like they've made a really bad mistake, and who hasn't? And I'm not forgiving. I'm not saying to just let everybody off the hook that's ever committed a horrible crime. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying when you go inside and you feel that you are cutting yourself off because you're guilty or because you're bad or because you're wrong or because you've done something wrong, you have stopped the flow of receiving because of your lack of self-worth. It's very common. And what I do and what I suggest is take the 3 steps and start looking at how you are holding yourself hostage, how you are actually sabotaging your own success because you almost feel a need to punish yourself for your mistake. It's an unconscious thing we do. It's like most people I work with that haven't been able to create wealth, they have to let go of a mistake from the past. They've done something they have not been willing to let go. And what I find is they sabotage themselves with creating abundance to pay for it. And when we do a little work around forgiveness and open up the self-worth, they can let it go. And I mean, just to back up a little bit, even hardened criminals that have done horrific things. I've gone in the prisons, and one of the things we've discovered is they are punishing themselves so much, much worse than the prison system. They can't let themselves be free inside. And when we go in and do some work and actually have them start forgiving, do you know, they become a beautiful part of society because their forgiveness is profound and their ability to receive has opened and they are ready to give back. So if you're having trouble with self-worth, this is a very good place to go in and start asking yourself the questions. What am I resisting feeling? That's number 1 on the catch and release process with 3 steps. What am I not wanting to experience? And for most people, like, what would your answer be if you're feeling unworthy and you're down on yourself? What are you afraid of experiencing generally?
Failure, lack of acceptance.
Lack of acceptance is a good one. It's often either I don't want to feel not being accepted, I don't want to feel being criticized, I don't want to feel not being liked. Huge one. And when you take that awareness of how much you've been resisting, pushing against, not wanting people to be mean to you or not like you, do you know a lifetime is spent resisting that energy? A lifetime. And you know what takes its place? Pretense. You start acting in ways you think people want you to act instead of being yourself. It becomes a whole collection on top of, I can't stand the idea of somebody not liking me. So as soon as you take step 1 and you find out that you do resist being unliked, you acknowledge it. You say, wow, I've spent my whole life acting out of fear of this. Then you start looking at all the things you do to avoid it. You'll see the pretense. You'll see how your life has become somebody else's instead of yours. You might even get angry and you'll start seeing your life has been spent in an effort to be liked by other people. And then you'll go in and you'll start doing step 2. You'll own this feeling that's inside of you. You'll own it. You'll see you've been resisting not being liked for so long you thought it was you. You thought this was you being human. And it's just resistance to not being liked. And when you let go of this resistance, you finally let go of this pile of energy that's been pushing against an idea, you will not believe how open you become. You all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was so shut down. I thought that was living. And then when you release the resistance, I take it one step further and I have them in step 2, drop into a big fat juicy feeling of not being liked. Just let yourself wallow in it for a minute and feel it so you can stop being afraid of it. Drop into the worst moment you can remember not being liked and drink it in like a drink of water and let it be until you can just allow it to move through you. And when it does, you will be just tickled pink because what happens is you realize not being liked isn't so bad. It's really not so tough. And you just let it be, you feel it, you enjoy it, you bathe in it, and then you just breathe it out. And the whole thing takes less than 5 minutes. And you have become the master of a feeling you've been resisting your entire life. And then you even almost want somebody to do it to you so you can feel it again. Go ahead, don't like me, don't like me. I just want to feel it and see how it is, because I'll breathe it in and breathe it out. Because quite honestly, and I know you know this, what other people think about you has nothing to do with you. They're always going to do that. So it's so cool to get really good at just allowing that and loving everyone anyway. Just staying open anyway. And then the last part of the catch and release process, you breathe in a feeling that you like because you choose to, because you can, because you're powerful, because it's a choice. And then you breathe in, I like myself, or I enjoy being me, or any feeling you like, a feeling of anything. What would you pick? What feeling would you like to have when you're getting rid of I'm not liked or not being liked?
Self-love comes
Self-love. Oh my gosh. How about a nice big bath in self-love? The best way you can. And listen, there's no way to do any of these steps wrong. There's no possibility that you will do them wrong, because every little bit you do works. So if she wants a big drink of self-love, she would just imagine what that's like for her. There isn't a wrong way to do that. For me, I open up and I let the blue sky hug me. I let the trees wave at me. I let the earth, when I step on her, caress me. I just take a deep breath and I say yes to that loving feeling that I felt when I left my body in the hospital, because it's always here holding me and you. So just say yes and let that beautiful feeling in. And that's a release. That was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anything else? We're good with questions?
I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you. That was so much fun. I hope to see you guys soon. Come and visit me on my website and just open and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay. Stopping broadcast. Bye.